The Drive with Tim Donnelly here on 99.9 The Fan. Joining us now at ACC tip-off here in Charlotte, Jeff Capel, head coach of Pitt basketball, former four-year starting guard at Duke, and the 1993 North Carolina High School Player of the Year. Back in your home state. We'll start there, right? When you're back in the home state for something like this or recruiting, right, something other than a business trip for a game, is there anything you have to do? You have to check off? You have to eat something in North Carolina you need to get your fix?
Yeah, normally if I'm here in the morning, I normally try to hit a Biscuitville. That's my spot. And then anytime in the afternoon, I'll try to hit Cookout.
Okay.
I try to hit places that we don't have up in Pittsburgh. And those are two of the staples from my time in North Carolina.
That is, I think you're going to get a lot of nodding from all of our listeners. Right? They're going, good choices. Looking at this offseason and coming into the new season, do you use the NCAA tournament snub as anything? Right, researching for this interview, you type in like Pitt basketball 2024, a lot of like first four out, snub, first four out. Did you let that still be a thing, or is it completely flushed?
Well, our guys won't let it. Our returning guys certainly feel a certain way about it. For me, I'm trying to focus on right now and what we have to do to become the best team that we can be this year. I certainly thought that we were deserving last season, but I'm not a decision maker. And, it was very unfortunate for our guys, for our program, for our fans. But we have to do everything we can to make sure this team is in the best place where that doesn't happen to us again.
So what is that emphasis? How do you make sure that you don't leave it in the selection committee's hands?
Well, one of the things is trying to control what we can control. We need to win more in the non-conference. I mean, that's as simple as that. We need to win more in the non-conference. And then we need to root like hell for the teams that we play in the non-conference to win after we play them. I mean, to me, it's as simple as that. Like we had two games last year where we thought, and I think everyone thought both teams would be really good. West Virginia, who we play every year. Then another game that we didn't schedule that was given to us by the TV networks in the SEC Challenge, Missouri. Mm-hmm. Both teams at the beginning, everyone thought was going to be very good. Both teams were tournament teams the year before, and both teams turned out to not be good. And we beat West Virginia. We lost to Missouri. I think that's the reason why we didn't get in. Certainly our loss against Florida, we have to be able to win those games. And that's what we're trying to do, become the best team that we can be and just focus on us, man, and be as good as we possibly can be.
From an ACC perspective, we're here at ACC Tip-Off. I think everyone that is a fan of the conference wants to see as many teams get into the NCAA tournament as possible. Yesterday, ACC commissioner, I think it was yesterday, it all bleeds together. Yeah. Jim Phillips said he'd be open to shrinking the conference schedule. Like, do you think there are things that need to change in how the conference operates to make sure that good teams that win in the tournament and the ACC championship tournament aren't being held out of the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think we have to look at everything. I don't know the answers to that, but I do think that we have to look at everything because it's a travesty that we don't get more teams in. Last year was us. The year before last, it was Clemson, who was so deserving. The year before that, it was Wake Forest, who was so deserving. Hell, last year, I thought that Wake team was one of the best 64, 68 teams in the country. And so we all feel like we're more deserving. And when we look at the other conferences that are getting 10 teams in, 11 teams in, and we've gotten 5 the past couple of years, it is very frustrating. So we do have to look at something and try to figure out a way that we can put ourselves in the best position to get more teams in.
Jeff Capel, head coach Pitt basketball, former Duke player, joining us here at ACC Tip-Off. I want to go back to March 5th. Florida State goes into your arena. You win the game, 88-73. But there's this Cam Corrin, a sophomore guard, puts up his season-high 25 points for Florida State in the loss. Was that when you decided right then and there you wanted to get him out of the transfer portal and bring him to Pitt for this year?
Well, we had played against Cam for 2 years, his freshman and sophomore year at Florida State. And we were big fans of his. I mean, look, I'm a fan of basketball. And so when you play against someone or you watch people play, man, I really like this kid. I mean, I can tell you guys in this league right now that I love, like I think that are really good. He was one that I thought was super talented. And I remember saying to our staff, if he ever goes into the portal, and at that time, listen, man, like you hear stuff, you start to hear, and one of the rumors was that Leonard Hamilton was going to retire. And so that was my thing. If Coach Ham retires and this kid goes in the portal, like we have to get him.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we saw him going to the first and foremost, I was glad that nothing happened with Coach Ham. I'm glad he stayed. But when the kid went into the portal, then we immediately reached out and got him up on campus, and we're very, very fortunate to get him. I think he's really talented. He's an unbelievable kid. He's been up there since June, and he's someone that we look to be a big piece of what we're doing.
So is there a list in like a locked drawer in your desk of when you're watching film scouting guys? If they pop on screen, do you write it down for a rainy day?
You don't write it down. You know, you keep it in your head.
There you go.
You know what did Robert De Niro say in Goodfellas? Like you don't write anything down.
No
you
evidence.
keep it up here. So but no, you keep it in your head. And look, I mean, nowadays, if we're being completely honest, when you recruit a kid in high school, if you don't get them, you got to keep the relationship because it could come back to you. You know, even when I'm out now in the summer recruiting at high school events, we may see kids and I may make a mental note of, all right, you know, we're not going to get him, but if he transfers, let's make sure we, you know, keep a relationship with the coach and things like that. That's the nature of where we are right now. Mm-hmm. You know, it used to be 2 years ago before they eliminated, it's really no one-time transfer anymore. You can do it as much as you want. So you would look at guys like we have a kid, Ish Leggett, that transferred to us from Rhode Island. When we got him, we knew or we thought, okay, we'll have him for 2 years because he's already exhausted the one-time transfer. And then midway through last year, they got rid of that. So then it's like, okay, we have to recruit him over. You have to recruit him over. So you have to recruit your guys, and you're constantly looking at other guys. Hey, if they go into the portal, I've seen them here. We know the numbers. We know what they can do. We've seen them in high school. So you have some kind of feel for it because it happens so fast.
And kind of specific to your team, Bub Carrington was a lottery pick last year, which is to me the ultimate like first class problem, right? Because he was not one of the NBA big board guys when you recruited him. He was in the 90s of overall recruits in the country, 4-star kid. Is it tough on the program when someone so quickly, I mean, he's a lottery pick. They play him so quickly into one of the best NBA prospects that he leaves maybe before you were planning?
No, it was great. It's great. It's great for us. It's great for him. It's great for our program. And we were so happy for him. Once he got off to the start that he got off to, that I knew that it had an opportunity to happen fast. Mm-hmm. When Bub got there in the summer and we started working with him, I told our staff, like, hey, I think this thing with him, and I told his dad, I think this could move pretty fast. I didn't think it would be 1 year at the time, but once we started playing the games, that I knew that it was going to have an opportunity to do that. In saying that, once we got to around January, where we became the team I thought we could be, which was pretty good, as a staff, I would say we would talk all the time and meet, and we would say, like, we want to bring Bub, Ish, and Jalen Lowe back. Mm-hmm. At the very least, we got to get 2 of them back. You know, and the only place we should lose them to is the NBA. You know, we can't lose them to anywhere else. And so we want to make sure the experience for all 3 of them are really good. So we lost Bub to the NBA. That was great. It was great for him. It's great for our program. And more importantly, just as important, we were able to retain Lowe and Leggett.
Quickly here before we let you go, whether it's Carrington, who we just mentioned, early in your career, previous stops, it's Tatum, it's recruiting Zion, there's Blake Griffin. You've been around some of the sensations, right? The real famous college basketball players. Have you seen something like the Cooper Flag stuff where the Team USA clips were going so viral and you know, the fame is kind of growing a level?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's certainly well deserved. Mm-hmm. He's a talented young guy, and the thing that I admired about him when I saw him in high school at some of the AAU events is how competitive he is. Like, he is super, super competitive, and I thought he was obviously an elite player, but you very rarely see a guy that young that's so good defensively and take such pride in that. I'm not sure there's been anything that's been more hype than Zion coming out, though. Cooper has the ACC stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, the USA basketball stuff. Zion didn't have that opportunity, but when he was coming out, like his stuff, because it was
The social media.
a level of athleticism and power that I'm not sure you've ever seen. But so I would compare it a little bit to that.
Jeff, we appreciate you for taking the time to chat, and good luck this season.
All right.